How rugby league beats the weather. Headingley's undersoil heating system is in full working order. Scrum down is on. And Castleford are grateful for that. Their Challenge Cup tie away to Trafford Borough saved from the frost by the switch to Headingley. It's a first-round tie, but it's like Wembley for Trafford. Changing in a dressing room normally used by more illustrious names than them, their player coach must make sure they don't freeze on their big day.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it. We have a cup final, so we just want to go out there and perform.
Is it going to be a question of playing for pride?
Well, I mean, you've got to be realistic. The chance of us winning are very slim, but we'll stick in there, we have a good first half, and hope we don't fall away like we have done the last 15 minutes.
Well, they do have two special ingredients out here. Alexander Dyatlov is a magician, a Moscow magician who earned a Trafford contract when his team toured here before Christmas. Oleg Zotov in the pack is the other of Trafford's Russian collection to earn a place today. Here's the full lineup, one or two familiar names. Above all, Chris Johnson, a former Great Britain international fullback who plays loose forward today in what is, don't forget officially, the home team. Well, Cass welcome back Richie Blackmore, the big New Zealander who's had a long spell out with shoulder trouble. So this man, Graham Bradley, the centre signed from Penrith in Australia, gets an outing in the second row in place of the injured Sean Irwin. Just one other change for Cass. Tony Smith moves up from substitute to replace Mike Ford at scrum half, who hasn't recovered from an injury picked up in last week's 24-10 victory over Bradford at Weldon Road. Well, later we've got two other ties for you, Halifax against Hulkingston Rovers and Batley against Featherstone. But we start with the day's only morning kick-off. Here at Headingley, an early start for David Watkins and John Hell.
Yes, it's a good morning at Headingley. We were hoping to be in the sunshine of Scarborough today, but that game is off, so we're in the sunshine of Leeds instead. David, can you honestly see Trafford being anything other than lambs to the slaughter?
Well, you can't really, because there is a gulf in experience and playing ability. But I'm sure that there'll be plenty of faith there and hopefully a lot of commitment.
And the first flowing movement from Castleford perhaps here, already in embryo. Today's referee, Paul Volanti from Birstall, said it's just like going back to junior days refereeing matches in a morning. Castleford then looking for the early score. You can be sure that they'll want to pile on the points today. Victory will not be enough for them or their supporters, not all of whom have made the morning journey. The ball reversed to Lee Crooks, whose strength will be an important factor, I'm sure, today. Beardmore from acting half-back, along the line Tony Smith. I don't think Trafford have had the ball yet. Now it's Martin Kettridge, Nick Howe, and they're trying to punch the first holes inside the Trafford 25. It really is a question you imagine of Trafford playing for their pride in this match. Stedman tries to chip through, and still Castleford have the ball. Trafford just not able to get hold of it, and now a penalty awarded to Cass. I'm sure they'll run it. In fact, they won't. Lee Crooks decides that let's have some points on the board, a decision which was greeted by booing from the Castleford fans. They want tries, David.
Well, they've got to get it right first of all. They are a professional side, and it is important that they have a good start. They don't want to be in a situation where everything hangs on the edge. Then you try too hard, and what happens then? The opposition just get amongst you.
So here comes Lee Crooks looking for the first points of the match. And he's negotiated it very well indeed. 2 points for Castleford, 2 for Lee Crooks. And the first of many, we imagine. Coming up now is Graham Bradley and Kettridge together. It was Kettridge that time. From Smith along to Crooks, who reverses the play, and that's to bring Nick Howe into things. A planned move which didn't quite work out. Well spotted with Zotov. And Trafford Borough brought forward in the action. Crooks, this is dangerous looking. There are men out on the right. This could produce the first score for Cass. Bradley hauled down 15 yards out. They try and switch it to the right, and now coming back in field, it's spilled, and Trafford Borough have the chance to run the ball clear. Always the problem, David, is that people expect tries just to come at will, and it doesn't always happen like that.
Well, that's one of the things Castleford have got to realise. They've still got to stick to their game plan. They've got to move the ball out as if they were playing somebody at the top of the First Division, the Leeds or the Widnes. And what tends to happen is you try and want to do, everybody wants to score.
There's the player coach getting involved. Ooh, that's a dangerous ball. Oh, and Blackman spills it over his own line and just manages to chip it behind. Dodgy moment for Richard Blackman. He's a player who was born in London, played for Dewsbury Moor, but this was a nervous moment for him.
Just watch here now. They try to move it out here in their own half. It wasn't the best of passes. He then had difficulty in picking it up, but at least he put it dead to clear.
From the hooker, Rippon. Johnson has to kick downfield, and he's negotiated a pretty good kick as well. He's found an excellent touch, Chris Johnson. He is one of the most experienced players in this side, and it's to the likes of him and Ainsworth that the younger players will look for a lead.
Well, they certainly will, but the thing is this, that they were pinned in their own half then. It was a chance for them to move the ball, but he was sensible enough to realise he's got to save his tackling, because there'll be a lot of that this afternoon, and he's found a good touch.
To know what the odds are against the second win of the season. So Johnson finding his touch, and this is encouraging for Trafford Borough. And they're led forward by Rippon, their hooker, and straight away he'll bring on Gary Ainsworth, former Swinton player. He's played at the top level, he's played here in the First Division days. Nice little switch of play to Zotov. Oleg Zotov, another of the Moscow magicians who came here, and they're looking for the first score themselves, and Ainsworth gets Blackman towards a yard away. If he can get down, it would have been a score for Trafford. Not more than a yard away, and it's coming out eventually. Can they switch the play successfully? The little scrum half, Andy Green. It would certainly stir Castleford if Trafford did make the first score of the day. Oh, if he'd have gone left there might have been a gap. Looked as though there was an overlap opening up. They'll certainly have the enthusiasm, Trafford, and now it's hoisted by Johnson. And in the sunshine, that might be a difficult one to take. And Trafford spinning away. Well, it was well taken under pressure by Graham Steadman. Well, that was quite enterprising from Trafford Borough.
It was very good. Their build-up was quite good. Their progress forward was good, and they were a little unfortunate not to have scored. As you said, John, he took the wrong option in the centre. Coming back inside, he might have been better to have gone on the outside.
Nelson brought into it for the first time. He'll be freezing out on that left wing. The danger to a side like Trafford, of course, is that once Castleford do score the first one, that the floodgates could just open. Lift their morale no end if they can keep them at bay for much longer. Crooks, now they have got Bradley tearing through on the right touchline. Graham Bradley really showing his paces, and he's hauled down not more than 5 yards out, but still the danger must be here to Trafford Borough that Castleford are about to get their first score. The ball is moved along the line, and here goes Grant Anderson, and Anderson's in. He was put in with an excellent ball from Graham Southernwood, and Grant Anderson does open the gates.
Well, this was good progressive rugby, because the ball was moved out wide here. It was the delayed pass that really put him in. And when Anderson went through here, he really went through the tackles of two men.
Try number 8. He's scored now in 4 of the last 5 matches. Straightforward kick for Lee Crooks, which takes Castleford 8 points in front. David, it is going to be interesting to see how Trafford react now. That's been a morale booster for Castleford.
Well, they found themselves capable of tackling close in, but what Castleford have got to do, like they did in the last try, is just move it out a little wider, draws everybody into the middle, and they have the speed on the outside to capitalise.
Stedman's got himself involved again. Blackmore to Nelson. Quarter of an hour gone, 8 points to 0. Castleford in front. Crooks. Kenny looks to release it, and he did, and Anderson found it a very difficult ball to take. Did very well to cling on to that. Southernwood. Now Smith. He's a nifty little half-back. Now it's put down by St John Ellis. It's the first time I remember Ellis being involved in it as well. And they've not really been at their most fluent yet.
Well, they haven't. What they're tending to do is to try to be overcomplicated by putting too many passes in. Just watch this now. I mean, it's moved across here. People taking their eyes off the ball. St John Ellis just come inside, and the ball goes down to the ground again.
And it's the player coach Ainsworth who is first man to drive forward for Trafford Borough. Well, they're showing good movement there along the line, and a forward pass given, otherwise Andy Bloor would have been on his way to the try line after good work from Zotov and from Mark Meadows. That's a shame in the context of the match.
Well, it shows they are capable of doing something, if the ball is moved themselves, that they too can take on this Castleford side.
Castleford's put in. And they'll take it out as well. And Anderson making himself available and creating the space. Oh, here's going to be a powerful run. Oh, this is terrific from Graham Stedman. There'll be no stopping Stedman on one of those familiar gallops, and that's a terrific score from the fullback.
I've said for many years the most important position on the field is full-back. If you time your run to perfection, and he certainly does, it's the deliverance of the pass as well, but it's really speed on the outside. Trafford Borough found wanting here with any speed. Even when the wing now comes into the picture to come and cut him off, there's no stopping Graham Stedman.
That really was a smashing shot of one of the best players in rugby league, who must be a candidate for the tour to Australia. Crooks kicks it, and Castleford already stretching themselves away to a winning margin. 14-0. England. Then the ball swung back inside for Kettridge this time. I don't think the right wing, Simon Middleton, has touched the ball yet. Says something about it. Now Crooks. Oh, he's created the space. That was superb work from Crooks. A barging run from him. And again a forward pass given by referee Valente. That's the third time in this first 25 minutes.
Well, it must be disappointing for Cass, because whilst their big forwards are driving, as Crooks now shows you here, he delays the pass here, then bursts through, and it's his strength really that takes him through the tackler. But really, there's a man either side of him here, plenty of time to do one thing or the other, even to chip it ahead. Instead of that, a forward pass was given and the ball was lost at the same time.
Fair to say he fed the scrum then, but the referee, as they want these days, didn't penalise him. Johnson setting a lead at the moment from loose forward. He's been very involved in the play in the last few minutes. Bit pedestrian, however. Zotov can't get them to halfway. Meadows, oh, he's done well. Oh, Dyatlov puts it down. Oh, not much communication perhaps there. Castleford take it from that scrum. Blackmore might create some space now for St John Ellis. No, good tackling by Paul Garnett. Nelson, we've seen him on these long distance runs before, the corkscrews between defenders. He stayed He looks to have hurt himself there, just a little bit. But Crooks is on yet another of these plunging runs. Can't quite go all the way himself. Lee Crooks, without question, is the man who is really carrying the fight to Trafford at the moment. It's dangerous every time he's got his hands on the ball. Keith England, the ball inside is for Roebuck. There must be chances now for Castleford. Smith, and this time St John Ellis will not be stopped. There's nothing wrong with that score.
Well, we saw Crooks go in once or twice on his own without much backing up, but this is a much different picture because when he does go through this time, the backing up is there. England comes through, Sampson comes through, everything is now moved out, and the ball is moved out very quickly. It's caught Trafford Borough in the middle of the field. St John Ellis has no difficulty in weaving his way over.
9th try of the season for St John Ellis, who extends his scoring sequence to the last 3 games. Crooks can bring Castleford up to the 20-point mark. And he's not been able to do it, right across the face of the posts. So Castleford have to be satisfied with 18 points in the first 30 minutes. Well, there may not look to be many people in the main stand opposite our cameras, but there are quite a number of people here, as you can see, all enjoying their Sunday morning rugby league. Stedman will look to get around. Martin Meadows, first of all, a siding break by Graham Stedman. Is he going to make it all the way himself? He's got the fullback to beat. Stedman is still here. And he's hauled down eventually 10 yards short. Again, it showed the great footballing brain of Graham Stedman to set Castleford up here into this position. And if they spin this one along the line, they should have another score. England, nobody to give the ball to. I don't think he played that ball, but there's a penalty given in any case.
Well, you don't see this very often because when you double around against a good side, the defence comes up on both sides. They hadn't come up on the short side. Stedman had noticed it, and it was his speed that took him through the gap. Really, I don't think he saw the man inside him here as he tried to go vainly on the outside and wasn't able to pass and was brought down, and the move came to a halt.
Oh, that was cleverly done. In the end, he almost overdid it. Southernwood. Forward pass again. 4 times we've had 4 forward passes.
Well, this is certainly one of the problems you have when you're playing in a lower side from the divisions, because everybody now is taking it too easy. There's no real urge, there's no commitment on behalf of the Castleford players, and I can understand the bench now being rather irate about some of the things that are going on out there in the pitch.
Castleford made 11 mistakes already, as you see, 5 more than their opponents. Green and Johnson and Bloor, and now Hidden still. He's a spirited trier. And it's beginning to look as though Castleford will have to be satisfied with 18 points in this first half. Many folk were predicting a lot more than that. Good catch from Nelson. And up the middle he goes, and Nelson has pace. It's a brave tackle on him. Meadows who took him out. There's only a minute left in this half as Crooks again is the first one up. Nicow, oh, danger now, and again it's Stedman who comes into the line and times the run perfectly. Hidden can't stop him. Stedman slides in for his second try, and he so far is the star of the show.
Speed and perfect timing. This move has it all. The last pass here goes behind the man. Stedman takes it on the burst. It's his speed now that takes him outside the defence for an excellent try in the corner.
He really is in a league of his own in this company. I don't think many of us would bet against him going on to another hat-trick. He's had one this season in a cup tie against Doncaster, that in the Regal Trophy. He's 2/3 of the way to another.
Well, ruthlessness has got to be shown in these games, and Cass hasn't shown too much of it this afternoon, although Steadman, it must be said, has really tried hard along with the guy who's now kicking the goal, Lee Crooks.
And that never had any hope at all. And it's half-time here then at Headingley. A predictable scoreline, although Trafford Borough not as far behind as they might have been. Castleford are leading by 22 points to 0. It's been largely one-way traffic, but Castleford have registered only 4 tries, the first from Grant Anderson, 2 from Graham Steadman, 1 from St John Ellis to go, with 3 goals from Lee Crooks. They lead 22-0. We'll have the second half after the break. Looking back to Headingley, it's Trafford Borough 0, Castleford 22. Castleford coming out for the second half. They've not been all that impressive, but that certainly cannot be said about Graham Steadman, who's been extremely impressive. His pace has been the difference between the two sides, and this was his second try just a minute before half-time, which has stretched that Castleford lead to 22 points. Well, let's hear from the first try scorer in this match, Grant Anderson, who's been off with an injury for the last few minutes. He's talking with Nick.
Grant, how difficult is it to play against a third division team?
Like you say, it's not always that easy. We're just trying to mainly just go through as what we do on training, as game plans, and get everything right for the obviously next week.
What's been said at half-time?
He's just really not happy with his performance at the moment. We're not going forward, and his ball security is pretty average, so we've just got to settle down and start from scratch again. Let's put it all together this half.
And treat them like proper opponents?
Yeah, correct. Oh, yeah. There's no problem with that. We're going out and giving them the respect they deserve, like, and we've got to start and take the ball forward.
Thanks very much indeed.
Okay.
Those are the words from Grant Anderson, and from the dressing room, I'm sure Daryl van der Velde, who I can see has just taken his seat up in the stand on the far side, will have been very unhappy. The statistics of the first half then, Trafford actually edged the scrums 5-4. The penalties, well, Trafford have already conceded 7, Castleford only 3. That shows improved discipline, but handling errors, Castleford 11 already, Trafford 6. But of course that does reflect the fact that Castleford have had a lot more possession. They've had a lot of the ball. They haven't always been able to do much with it. Let's see if they can now. That ball is going to fall nicely for Nelson. He's had 1 or 2 good runs, and yet he's not got over the try line. He's only got 6 tries since he joined Castleford, but his general play's been good. Idden and Zotov have both gone off for Trafford. And the 2 substitutes, Paul Williams and Richard Sumner, are on. Roebuck, Crooks. He always makes ground, but this time he puts the ball down, and it was picked up by Roebuck to no avail. Well, Trafford taking the scrums so far. They badly need ball. That's the only way they're going to keep the score down in this match. Garnett, he's done well in the centre, Garnett, today. He's tackled well at all times and has made a couple of half breaks. There's no way through for Grand. Here now is this man, Mark Meadows. Perhaps the strongest in the pack. Rippon and Ainsworth and Johnson. This time they do get to just about the halfway line. Reminder of that score, it's 22-0. Here's one of those substitutes in the scrum cap, Richard Sumner. And this is Meadows yet again. He's shown a very good willingness to work, and Ainsworth kicks high. And he's going to collect it himself as well. Well, I didn't think it was going to be a very good kick. It turned out all right, though. And that is now the handover. Martin Kettridge, the jeweller. Crooks, and now there's a burst up the middle from, oh, that's good play, and Southernwood took it on from Roebuck, and again it's Stedman who's there at the shoulder to take Castleford to the 25. Southernwood, now it's Roebuck along the line, Blackmore, and the Kiwi gets it away, it's picked up and the ball was knocked back, and they look to be a bit bedraggled on that far side, and Nelson will take advantage in plunging over for Castleford's 5th score.
Well, they'll be much happier with that because this was more direct running and really backing up the man with the ball. They really plunged forward down the middle. Although the ball went back off Crooks then, play was continued with England. Now they were looking for the long ball out, the opportunity came, Trafford Borough held up half a second and that gave him enough time to score.
7th try of a season for David Nelson. I think Trafford were just a little confused after the ball had struck Lee Crooks. They thought there might be a knock-on, and once the referee had said play on, they almost had stopped.
Well, you can't afford to be hesitant in rugby league. You've got to go for everything, take it as it comes, and they didn't. They held back a little bit then. It just gave them the chance, Castleford that is, on the outside to score in the corner.
Lee Crooks in front of the main stand on the left corner of your picture. Can't convert again. And the scoreline stays then at Trafford Borough 0, Castleford 26. That's what they were looking for early in the first half, a score as early as that.
That's right. They've really got to have a ruthlessness. They are a top first division side, and you've got to treat sides like this with a little contempt in there. And really hammer home your advantage of superiority in skill, fitness and physical strength.
Blackmore has taken this one. He's a big, strong fella, this New Zealander. No question about that. He's had his injury problems this season. And again, the timing of the pass is important, and it's Roebuck who goes. And they're clinging onto his shirt tails. Keith England, good performance from him in the front row today. Someone looking for a gap. Roebuck might exploit one. So might Crooks here. They look as though they're queuing up on the left, and he went to the right. Eventually the ball has come left. Now there did look to be a forward pass there, but Blackmore will score here. Another try for Castleford. I thought there might have been a forward pass in that, ironically. The referee didn't. It doesn't matter. Blackmore's over.
Well, this is the cast now that Darrell van der Velde wants to see. A little more going forward with the strength, a little better backing up here. Delayed pass, but taking the man and ball out of the tackle. Look, the ball out to Crooks. Crooks looks to appear to have lost his way a little, comes back inside, but is able to release the ball yet again. Then the ball is eventually moved to Blackmore, cuts infield through a bedraggled defence and scores easily at the post.
Blackmore's 3rd try of the season makes it 30-0. And this one he does convert, and I wonder if we're now on the verge of an avalanche. Castleford's Australian coach Darrell van der Velde likes to make contact with the bench from a position higher up, and he was talking there no doubt to Mick Morgan. Trafford gained possession. They've not been anywhere near the Castleford line in this half as yet. Notice Dean Sampson in your background there is just warming up. 10 minutes into the half, Castleford have already added 10 points. The word is that Keith England is going to be given a breather to allow Sampson a run. Nice little kick from Johnson, and there might be problems here, but it's Stedman who's underneath it. So he does just as well in defence as he does in attack. Crooks, who again he's got that ball away, and Southernwood just managed to take it, and this is enterprising. Smith, he might have caught Trafford a little bit unawares now. This could be a real opportunity for Castleford to add to that tally as England goes. England still, the ball away for Blackmore. Nelson's going to score. This is going to be one of the simpler tries, and try number 2 in this half already for David Nelson, and that was more like Flattycat.
Well, get the basics right and the skills are there for all to see. This is a perfect opportunity. Good pass, long ball over the top, easy run to the line for Nelson, and he makes no mistake.
So his tally is increasing. Goal kickers like nothing better than to see a man put the ball down somewhere close to the sticks. It provides a straightforward conversion for the Crooks, and Castleford are now 38 points in front, having collected 16 already in this half. And Keith England, who had a big hand in that try, has now gone off to take a rest and has been replaced by Dean Sampson. Crooks, now Bradley, and this time he can have a romp. Here goes Bradley, terrific gallop from him, and then he pulls up. He wasn't too sure. He's had 2 runs in this second half. Again, the ball is fumbled by Southernwood, and still they might open them up through that left-hand side as Smith and Steadman get involved. Steadman goes to ground, and again it will be on the last tackle. Nothing very clean about them at the moment. That's Kettridge putting boot to ball. This will be a try maybe if he takes the catch. Oh, he just couldn't hold on. Simon Middleton. And he's ruled offside anyway.
Well, it's far from impressive. A good kicker, he takes it, but he loses it in the tackle. But he was offside in front of the man kicking the ball.
Kettridge. He gets them inside the 25. So the same distance from this one, and they'd be pretty close to an 8th try. That's what they're looking for now. Nick out, put down again by Ellis. Knock on, Castleford can't get it right. And the handling errors go up and up and up.
Well, this last 5-10 minutes has really proved that you've got to stick to your game plan. You can't just punch holes down the middle against them, despite the fact they are inferior in the middle of the field.
17 mistakes they've made. Something Daryl van der Velde will be ramming home to the players afterwards, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll look a very different team when they play Leeds here next Sunday, which you will see on Scrumdown. Leeds versus Castleford. Always one of the matches of the season at Headingley, that one. Penalty given for Trafford by Mr. Valenti. Knocking the ball illegally out of the grasp. Nobody's going to give them the ball back. He still can't believe it, Sinjanelli's putting down that pass. I think even the referee is giving some words of encouragement to Trafford, saying, come on, keep going. And this is going to be their chance, maybe their only chance of a try in this half. Ainsworth to Zotov. He has got 1 try for them, Oleg Zotov. Scored on his debut against Chorley Borough. Rippon, Green, Meadows. Oh, he's done well there to get that one away for Garnett. And 8 yards out now, Trafford Borough. Could it be a moment of glory for Trafford Borough then? They've got to get it right here. Zotov, the ball inside, he's lost it. And that might be it.
Well, let's just look. They move the ball about, all right. This long ball, the obsession with long balls is quite incredible in the game. But there again, it's put down again. It's a little bit, it's mind jaws. It ends up with Castleford.
Well, I think most people expected Castleford to certainly run in 50 points. They're 12 points short of that target. Still, 2 tries and 2 goals would get them there. And that would still look impressive enough. They've 10 minutes in which to do that. But they've not been run off their feet, Trafford, that's for sure. Here's a good break for Smith up the middle, and he's got men at his shoulder, right and left, and it's Stedman's hat-trick. There he goes, and nobody deserves one more than Graham Stedman.
Castleford were looking for a little directness, and it certainly came here when Tony Smith goes down the middle of the field. But it's Stedman again who comes up on his outside. It's a perfectly timed pass, and his speed does it all.
So yet another Graham Stedman hat-trick. We saw him collect one at St Helens last season. He's had one this year in the Regal Trophy against Doncaster, and that's another one that takes him on to his 20th of the season. Crooks, and that's simple enough for him, and it's 44-0, and just 6 required for that 50 mark. Another red letter day for the Castleford fullback. Blackman puts it down, and it's Roebuck who picks it up gratefully. Crooks, he's been running straight most of the day. Another who's been back to his best form this season and must be a candidate for Australia. And coming at pace onto it again is Bradley. Well, then Bradley's had the chances to go all the way before in this match and not quite taken them. And that's the 3rd time in this half he's shown his strength in the second row. He usually plays in the centre, of course. Now it's Dean Sampson. He's going to take some stopping, and Castleford sent the 50 mark. If they get this right, they should get there. Nickau to Eric Nickau, reversing the ball. It's gone to ground once more, and it's gone to ground again from Trafford, and it's picked up, and Graham Stedman will get his 4th. He was the only man alert to the situation. That's a giveaway, and Stedman says thanks a lot.
A lesson to be learned. Never stop until the referee blows up. The ball is lost by Castleford in the first move, and then Trafford Borough, who seem to have it safe, lose it themselves. Stedman, always aware and alert, picks it up. The Trafford Borough defence is at standstill, and he goes over in the corner.
Well, it must seem like his birthday. It's 21st. Is this going to bring up the 50? It is! It's the best kick of the afternoon from Lee Crooks, and it's the one that makes the scoreline in nice round figures. Trafford Borough 0, Castleford 50. And most of that has been down to Graham Stedman. Let's hear from Nick on the touchline.
Yeah, I think Graham Stedman, John, may feel that he's had to do some things on his own, because more than once he's been caught in possession without the support that he was clearly looking for. He looked disgusted with his teammates on a couple of occasions down here near the dugouts. I think in a sense he's felt that he's had to go on his own to score 4 tries.
That looks a little bit high as we move into time added on in this game, with Castleford through to round 2 to the tune of 50 points. And that is the final scoreline here then. An unsatisfactory match in many ways. Castleford appearing sluggish at times and rattling up 9 tries almost at will. But Trafford Borough, well, a plucky show from them, but they couldn't stop the undoubted man of the match, Graham Stedman, who got 4 of those 9 tries. Well, down on the touchline, Nick Powell is going to attempt to have a word with 2 of the Trafford Borough players, Oleg Zotov and Alexander Dyatlov.
Yes, John, here they are. Well, we like to think that we're player-friendly here on Scrum Down, so we'll try and conduct this interview in Russian. Что вы думал о матче?
О матче? Ну, сразу видно, команды неравные. Вот. Мы еще слабенько играем в защите. Вот. Но все-таки есть разница, 1-й дивизион, 3-й. Вот. А так, в принципе, Игра была интересная, я думаю.
А вы?
Да, игра была очень интересная, и для нас она очень поучительная. Мы набираемся опыта здесь в третьем дивизионе, и поэтому для нас каждая игра – это школа.
Well, what the gentleman was saying was that it was always a very unequal contest, third division against first, but they did their best, and for both of them, it was a very interesting experience, and I think they've learned something from it. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо.
До свидания.
Well, I understood every word of that and I agreed with them. Castleford winning by 50 points to 0, 4 tries for Graham Steadman, 2 for David Nelson and 1 each for Grant Anderson, St John Ellis and Richard Blackmore. 7 goals from Lee Crooks. David Watkins, what did you make of it?
The gulf in skill, fitness, ability was always apparent. The ruthlessness that Castleford really wanted wasn't always there. But the tries still came and Steadman was the main provider.
Yeah, it's nice to go out and get a good victory and coming in at the final with 4 tries. It was mentioned at half-time that I'd got a chance of breaking the club record, but like I say, that's the least thing on my mind. The most important thing is to get the result, and that's exactly what we've done.
I'm sorry to mention it, but it's 54 points better than the St Helens game as well.
That was playing on our mind before we went out, and we were saying to ourselves, let's not let it happen again. Well, we all knuckled down, we tackled well, we know what we can do now, so let's just go forward from this.
There were 2 occasions when you might even get a try yourselves.
Yeah, we've been playing some moves like throw it out wide, and that's where we caused them more trouble, like causing Tinga throwing out wide. There was a chance in the first half with Alec the Russian, and then in the second half. But overall, can't complain. It's a first division side, 4th in the league, and we're at the bottom. You know, we give them a game. I think they'll be getting told off more than what we are.
Don't I imagine that's the sort of match a coach hates.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to prepare the players against second division opposition or third division opposition, and you know, we played like an underprepared side. You know, some of the players made far too many errors with the ball. And all in all, while it was we would win, we're disappointing in individual performances.
One thing that might be on your mind is Australia. I mean, you look to be in pretty good form at the moment.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's given me a new lease of life at full-back since Darryl has switched me from stand-off to that particular position, and it's a case of playing well week in, week out, and obviously if I can maintain the consistency and hopefully stay free from injuries, I'll just keep pushing for that particular spot.
Was this good or bad preparation for next Sunday when you're here again, a very different task?
Well, you know, I said to the players we could use it as a dress rehearsal if we would have played well and probably controlled the ball, but you know, it's the game itself. I don't like playing oppositions that aren't up to up to your level, because it tends to leave you with a false sense of security when you leave the game. And we just spoke about it after the game. You know, it's that game's over, but you know, we've got to take everything in its right perspective. They're not up to first division level and never ever will be the way that the things are going. But you know, we've got to marshal ourselves now next week and got Leeds down here at Headingley again.
These are the match facts. Of 20 scrums in all, Trafford healed 11, Castleford 9. Neither hooker managed to take one against the head. In a generally low penalty count, Trafford conceded 10 and Cass 7, most really were for minor offences. A lot of errors though. Maybe it was the Sunday morning kick-off that affected the players. Cass, in fact, spilled no fewer than 23 passes.
Colin Armstrong is Workington's try-scoring hero as Wakefield are knocked out of the cup in the first giant-killing act of '92. At Halifax, Hulkingston Rovers made the perfect start as they sought revenge for their 70-point drubbing there in the league.
There was never any danger of a repeat of that freak result. And talking of freakish, here's Rovers' opening try, courtesy of the ball striking John Fieldhouse on the head and rebounding directly into John Lydiot's grasp. Mike Fletcher goal to make it 6-0. Before Halifax replied with the one moment of genuine class in the game. This is a try that owes everything to speed of thought as well as foot. Greg Austin showing good brain power in angling the kick beautifully for Mark Preston to complete a move that deserved a try. Greg Pearce's goal brought the scores level, but then Rovers eased ahead again with Mike Fletcher's simple penalty. It looked as though the Robins had clinched their place in the second round when Zook Emma dived for the touchdown. Referee Whitfield ruled he'd bounced the ball. And within 90 seconds, Halifax were making them pay. The pass to Fieldhouse looked suspiciously forward, but he was allowed to go on and send in Dave Watson, who, with the aid of Pearce's second goal, gave Halifax a somewhat flattering and maybe undeserved win by 12 points to 8.
In the all-third division tie, Andy Ayres' 40-yard drop goal 8 minutes from time seemed to have put Keighley through until Roy Haggerty came out of the sin bin to level the scores with another drop right on the final hooter. Batley was stung by a real Featherstone speciality. Derek Fox's kick against the flow, and it's Paul Newlove pouncing. They practiced that, they loved doing it, and it gave them the first try of the game. The second was a more orthodox passing move, good handling, Batley unable to smother man and ball, and Tim Sharp over the line. 12-0 down, the third division side hit back. Simon Wilson's kick is high enough to interest air traffic control. Chris Bibb can't take it, and the Australian Andy Hendricks is in for Batley. Now, if Steve Parish could land the kick, they'd be right back in it. Just. The flags go up, and Batley in with a chance of the perfect reward for their enterprise in making sure the game went ahead, thanks to a mass of tarpaulins and some good old-fashioned braziers. But Newlove kept Featherstone in charge, sending in Owen Simpson. Then 6 minutes later, from Fox's pass, Chris Bibb saw an opening, and if any of the Rovers following held the fullback responsible for Batley's try, he soon made them forget all about it. With 4 kicks from Fox, Featherstone 24-8 in front at half-time, when Batley were presented with their first trophy in 68 years for winning the Alliance Second Division. And the first team was soon turning on the style, Wilson linking up with Hendricks, then finding fullback Jeremy Dyson in the line, Ikram Butt back to tackle, but Dyson gets the pass out to Mark Bonus. 24-12, and Parish, with his kicking boots working splendidly, made it 24-14 with half an hour to go. But as in the first half, it was a run from Newlove that nipped the Batley revival in the bud. Credit here to Owen Simpson on Newlove's left, the covering tacklers in 2 minds, and Newlove's away. A tour place surely his for the taking this summer if he keeps his form and fitness. But still Batley weren't finished. A penalty try given here as Glenn Tomlinson tries to follow up his own kick. And referee Steele merely ruling the Australian had been impeded as he crossed the line. But the last word belonged to Featherstone and fittingly to Newlove, who picked up the Man of the Match award in front of a crowd of just over 2,000 and collected his hat-trick with 6 minutes left. Batley 20, Featherstone 36. A full check then on the Silk Cut Challenge Cup first round. Barrow 7, Keighley 7, and Keighley's Australian prop John Mason broke his leg there on his full debut. Batley 20, Featherstone 36. Halifax 12, Hulkingston Rovers 8. Trafford Borough 0, Castleford 50. Workington 13, Wakefield 8. All the other matches, Cup and League, were beaten by the weather. So these are the rearranged matches. On Monday night, it's Whitehaven against Sheffield at 7:15. 3 games on Tuesday, all at 7:30. Salford and Wigan, Doncaster and Swinton, Widnes and St Helens. And on Wednesday, it's Highfield and London Crusaders at 7:30, subject to confirmation. Rochdale against Hull at 8 o'clock. Scarborough against Bradford at 7:30. And the replay between Keighley and Barrow at 7:30. And Kells against Hunslet is scheduled for next Sunday at Whitehaven, again subject to confirmation. And news of Gary Schofield, the Leeds and Great Britain standoff. He should be out of hospital tomorrow, but the depressed cheekbone fracture which forced him to leave the field during Leeds' victory over Rydale York needed an operation, and he could be out for 2 months. Well, now the scrum down jigsaw, and so far no one's been able to identify this man. We've had 21 different people suggested, including Martin Afire and Ellery Hanley. And I think you'll see now, with more pieces, that it's neither of those two. It's not Dean Bell either. He's been the most popular idea so far. So who is it? As always, a current rugby league personality. Worth a guess. Here's the address: Scrum Down Competition, Yorkshire Television, Kirkstall Road, Leeds, LS3 1JS. An afternoon behind the scenes with Scrum Down is the prize. Scrum Down Competition, Yorkshire Television, Kirkstall Road, Leeds, LS3 1JS. And if it's still not guessed, we'll reveal a little more next week when we're back here at Headingley and expecting a very different occasion featuring Leeds and Castleford, Yorkshire's 2 top clubs in the Championship. And barring a monsoon, we know the game will be on. By mid-afternoon, the heated Headingley turf was staging its 3rd game this weekend between Leeds and Carlisle in the Alliance Cup. Leeds won, but by then the star of the day, Graham Steadman, had his feet up at home, reflecting on a morning's work well done. Good night.
Scrum Down and Stones Bitter, bringing you the best in rugby league.